What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with more college basketball. I think we're going to start going into college basketball content from now until the end of March Madness pretty much, because that's really what's going on right now since college football, the NFL are both done, and NBA is coming to an end soon as well. So let's get straight into this, starting off the top 25 at number 1. Hold up. Make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Now you can clearly see right here, no surprise here, I don't think. Houston moved up to number 1, which makes a lot of sense. They beat Baylor, who was a top 10 team, I believe. And they won by 6, but that was a very tough game for them. Two top 10 teams going at it. They move up from 2 to number 1. I think, unless something crazy happens, I think they pretty much secured themselves a 1 seed in March Madness. And next up, we have Purdue, who actually has a better record than Houston, but they have played one more game than them, so it makes sense. They did move up another spot today after they won to Michigan. Michigan's not an incredible team, but they're not terrible. And I'm guessing the reason they moved up is because someone big lost. I know who it is. I'm going to keep it a secret. Yeah. UConn went down 2 spots from number 1. Honestly, I don't completely understand this. It looks like they had 1 less point than Purdue, which is kind of insane. Man, and they had more number 1 spots than Purdue did. So, honestly, a little surprising there. They beat Villanova by a lot, but they did lose to a team earlier this week. I believe... Hold up, let me research this real quick. It was a really bad team, though. So, yeah, I forgot it was Creighton that ended up taking down UConn, and they won by 19 points. So, oh my goodness. So, I guess I kind of understand why they moved them down 2 spots. Because Creighton's a good team. Creighton's ranked. Creighton is number 15 in the country before this ranking came out. But they were the number 1 team, and you can't be expected to lose by 19 to a 15th ranked team like Creighton. So, I understand why they did move down to number 3. But next up at 4, we have Tennessee, who's moving up another spot here. They absolutely destroyed Texas A&M. I don't know if they had any other big wins this week, but I'm assuming they just went 2-0 this week. And yeah, they went up a spot. And next up, I believe I can see who this team is, Marquette. They are moving up another 2 spots. They've been staying in the top 10 for most of the year. They're 21-6. Up another 2 spots. So they were 7 before today. They destroyed Xavier, and they won their other game as well. So, a very solid week for Marquette, moving up another 2 spots. But Arizona, oh my goodness, moving down 2 spots, probably dropped them out of a 1 seed. And this is obviously happening when Washington State hit the buzzer beater 3 to take them down 77-74. And if you watched my other video about a week ago, I said Washington State, you need to watch out for them because they are one of my sleeper teams going into March Madness. And the day after I said that, they hit a buzzer beater and took down the 4th team in the country. So, big W there. And then they destroyed Washington, but that loss is just, yikes, can't be doing that as a top 4 team. Next up, we have Kansas, who's 21-6. They fell down quite a bit. They were 1 to start off the year, I think, and then they've slowly moved down a little bit. They were 9th, and now they're up to 7, so maybe they're coming back a little bit. Maybe they can make a late charge for a 1 seed in the playoffs, March Madness. We'll have to see. They destroyed Texas, and Texas is a good team. I'm not sure if they're ranked. I know they were at some point this year. So, good job, Kansas. Iowa State, though, going down. They lost to Houston, and, I mean, I was expecting them to lose, honestly. 6 versus 1. You know, the odds are stacked against them. They did put up a solid effort, though, so I understand why they have to move down 2 spots, but I don't really agree with it. Next up, we have... Oh, sorry. How do I get rid of this? Hold up. Okay, now that we got that done. Alright. Next up, we have North Carolina moving up another spot, and this is a huge spot because they overtook Duke, who we'll talk about in a second. They had a loss this week. Now, this game right here, Virginia, you might be thinking they only put up 54 points, but you also have to remember they only allowed 44 as well. And Virginia has the number 1 defense in the country, so That's pretty impressive once you think about it. If you beat the number one defense in the country, Reese Beekman, one of their best players, is the best defender in the country. Dunn is probably one of their best players as well, another incredible defender. I think he leads the country in blocks or something. And now at 10, oh my goodness. Duke and Carolina have been duking it out in the ACC. As you can see, they have the exact same record, 21-6. Here's the difference. North Carolina took down Duke in their head-to-head matchup by a solid amount, but they're playing again later this week. The best rivalry in all of sports. You have to watch that game. And here we have Duke at number 10, who fell behind Carolina. I didn't really agree. I was okay with Carolina being at number 10. I did not like them being below Duke. But now that changes. North Carolina up a spot. Duke down 2 after they lost to Wake Forest, an unranked ACC team, which took them out of the tie for number 1 in the ACC. So there you have it. Auburn is on a rise right now. They're up another 3 spots after absolutely destroying Georgia. So good for Auburn there. They're making an effort. Maybe they can get a 2 seed. They get up a little bit more, but we'll have to see. And Creighton, watch out for Creighton, guys. I know they're 20-8. All these other teams have 6 losses. They have 8, but this is the hottest team in the country. But as I'm saying that, I just see right here, last night they lost to St. John's by 14, bro. How do you do that? How do you beat the number 3 team in the country and then lose to St. John's? Oh no, they beat the number 1 team in the country. Then you lose to St. John's. Yeah, that's rough for Creighton, but despite that loss, they still did move up 3 spots. But if they won that game, I think they could be in the top 10 right now. So a bit of a missed opportunity there for Creighton, but they still moved up 3 spots. Next up, we have Illinois, 20-7. They moved down 1 spot, obviously with Creighton and Auburn jumping them, but I'm guessing they moved ahead of certain team below them. They beat Iowa. I'm not sure about the other one. I think they just had a 2-0 week, a solid week. But, you know, with all these hot teams coming up, Creighton and Auburn, it's tough for them to keep their spot. And another team that Creighton and Auburn both jumped, Alabama at 19-8. They're down 1 spot after getting destroyed by Kentucky. They let up 117 points on Kentucky. Yeah, you can't be doing that in college basketball, especially at this time in the year. We're heading into March Madness. I wouldn't be too keen on picking Alabama in my tournament bracket. But next up we got Baylor. They're also 19-8, but they did take an L to Houston. I mean, they were expected to lose, and they only lost by 6. So good job, Baylor. I mean, if they pulled off that upset, they would have been at top 5 for sure, taking down the number 1 team in the country. But they did end up losing. They were close to pulling it off, but they could not quite finish the job. Baylor's down 4 spots, so for that, I don't completely agree with that. Kentucky up another spot after beating Alabama. We already talked about that one, so we'll keep moving. St. Mary's, a very underrated team, I believe. They don't have the hardest schedule in the world, but they're still 23-6. I think they should be a little higher than 17, in my opinion. But they took down San Diego this week. If their schedule was a little bit more difficult, guaranteed they'd be a lot higher. South Carolina, another team people might sleep on a little bit. They're 22-5. They're up another 2 spots this week. They beat Ole Miss this week, and yeah, they just had a solid week all around. Now we have Washington State, 21-7. I talked about them already. They took down, who was it again? I kind of forget. But they took down a really good team, I know that. But then they lost to Arizona State 61-73. It's just, you can't be doing that. Oh my goodness. All these hot teams are losing to really bad teams and beating really good teams, which you can't do that. You gotta win all of them. But Washington State still did end up moving up 2 spots after a huge win. San Diego State down 1 this week. They did beat Fresno State by a lot, but Fresno State's not a good team. Dayton, though. Ooh, look at Dayton, bro. 21-5. They lost to George Mason by 4. You cannot be losing to teams like George Mason going in to March Madness. So, as expected, they moved down a full 5 spots. Now, coming in to the rankings for the first time, maybe the first time, or maybe they weren't here last week, we have Utah State, who is at 22-5. Very nice record there. I'm guessing they have an easier schedule, so that's why they're just coming in But yeah, Utah State coming in, debuting at number 22 on the rankings here. And we are down to the final three teams, and let's get straight into it. We got Gonzaga. Okay, okay. I was saying on my bracket video about when I went over all the bracketology and what I think is going to happen in March Madness. I said it's crazy that Gonzaga is a 16 seed, especially how good they were the last couple of years. But it looks like they're making a late season run. They're in the rankings for the first time since way back in the beginning of the year. They're 22-6 though, and they took down Santa Clara pretty easily. So there you go. Another team coming in is Florida at 19-8. A little surprising here. They did take down Vanderbilt. I bet you they're just hot right now. We'll see how things turn out. And finally, 25. Also coming in. They were not here last time. We got South Florida 21-5. Very nice record. And they beat SMU. And there you have it. There is our top 25 teams. If you like the college basketball content, subscribe. We're only 7 subscribers away from 200. So please help me get there. Subscribe. It means a lot to me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.